Good evening. I'm Mike Leonard. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation for the Channahon Park District. Tonight, we're going to review with the community the Parks and Recreation Strategic Master Plan that the board approved having completed with Pros Consulting out of Indianapolis. Our presenter tonight of our Parks and Recreation Strategic Master Plan is Neil A. Bott from Pros Consulting. So I will turn it over to him. Thanks,
Thank you,
Neil.
Mike. Good evening, everybody. And it's great to join all of you here as well as a part of this process. Obviously, it's been the culmination of a lot of work from a lot of people, including Mike and the staff, all the public input as well. And we want to share with you the process, the key findings, and really the main recommendations that will help influence the future for the Channahon Park District and for all of you. So in a quick nutshell, this was the overall agenda: the process, community input, some benchmark findings, a program assessment, level of service and equity mapping, the capital improvement plan, the visioning process we went through with the staff, and finally the big moves. So this is how the entire process unfolded a little over a year ago in terms of where are we today, where are we going tomorrow, and how will we get there. So we did all the analysis on the ground ourselves with where are we today, your input, the community's demographics and trends, the needs, priorities, all the rest helped identify where are we going. And then with staff and with all the input and the analysis, we identified how do we get there. One housekeeping piece as well for all those of you looking at it now or want to look at this later. PlayItForwardChannahon.com is the project website. It will continue to be on after all this is done. Even as we speak, you can go to the technical reports and you will see the executive summary, the full report, and all the appendices there as well, along with the technical reports that were done as a part of the plan. So you get to see the entire plan or parts of it anytime you want. And today's presentation is being recorded. So we will also be uploading a video of this entire presentation on the website. So if anybody missed it and would like to go back and see it, you have the opportunity to do so and ensure that Channahon continues to play it forward. So what does it look like with respect to demographics and trends, right? What is the future of the district? And we use a service called ESRI, Environmental Services Research Institute, that looks at census tract data. We draw a shapefile specifically to get the park district's boundaries and the community we serve. And based on that, as the time when we did this last year, we were a little over 16,000 people, over 5,000 households, about 38.5 years as the midpoint age, a fairly high median household income, and primarily a white alone audience per the census data. We looked at the MPI as well, that's a market participation index, and clearly you love your sports in Channahon, right? So the red line that you see, all of that is the national average of 100. Everything above that, from tennis to golf, is 2 to 38% higher than national averages. You've got a great pool, you've got a great golf course. All of those certainly do influence and impact high participation as well. So in terms of the community input summary, we invited a number of stakeholders. Thank you to all of you who had participated, starting with the District Board of Commissioners, elected officials from the village as well, the Rotary, other departments, obviously all the Park District staff, and the community and users and students across the district. So a summary of all of this input, when we asked you, and this is subjective, keep that in mind, of course, right? But the top priority were these 4 things, right? People just wanted us to ensure that we understand the community's wants and needs for facilities and programs, ensure fiscal sustainability across all areas, improve existing facilities, infrastructure equipment, and increase facility spaces as well. So what does that look like, right? From a statistically valid standpoint, we took the questions and the input from there, added that to the statistically valid process, had 400 completed surveys out of over 2,000 to 3,000 that were mailed across the district by ETC Institute, This was sent through mail with the option to do it online or on the phone as well. And all this stuff really means that 95 out of 100 times, if you were to do the survey, the results you're about to see will be in a margin of error of plus or minus 4.9%. So some key highlights, right? This is where all those of you who took the survey, firstly, thank you. And the survey respondents were asked for each one of these amenities. Do you have a need for this? Yes or no? If yes, to what extent is your need being met? 100%, 75, 50, 25, or 0. Anything that's 50% or less as an unmet need, or anything or as a need, counts as an unmet need. For the same list then, we asked people, well, is this also important to you? And so really it's the combination of what is important to you, and from that, what's an unmet need rises to the top. As you can see from this, trails, walking, outdoor areas, or walking, running track, amphitheater, dog parks, all outdoor aspects are among the absolute high priorities, with an indoor playground being one of the ones that is an indoor amenity with also a very high priority. Now, programmatically, as you look at this as well, this is where adult fitness and wellness, senior recreation programs, nature programs, adult trips, outdoor adventure, senior trips. So you can see a lot of the unmet needs of programmatic offerings, many of them are to an audience that is 55 or older, as well as with nature and outdoor adventure for audiences of absolutely all ages. So then we looked at comparing the Park District with other agencies, and other agencies as good as you, right? These are all like you, either nationally accredited or gold medal agencies like yourself. That's where you see Common Clay Parks and Recreation in Indiana. You see Lamont Park District in Illinois. You see Westerville Parks and Recreation in Ohio. And then Lockport, New Lenox, and Oswego Land are all relatively comparable park districts, all in the Illinois area. So in comparing us, and yes, we're by far the smallest population size, but we do a lot of things really, really well. So keep in mind, this is now you being compared on a very steep curve with maybe the top 5% of all agencies across the country, right? And from that standpoint, you do phenomenally well for a number of metrics. In terms of parkland, we're by far the highest with over 33 acres per 1,000 residents compared to national median of only about 12 acres, right? Just below that. Trails, we've got room to grow. We're at 0.5 mile per 1,000, which is not bad, but a lot of the best practice ones can be higher and are higher. I think cost recovery is probably the one area we have the most to improve. National median wise, yep, we're at the midpoint, but compared to the best practice agencies, this is where we're going to have to work hard in terms of pricing, in terms of a philosophy, in terms of revenue generation, to ensure that we continue to increase the level of cost recovery so that the district can afford to provide the offerings it is. Programmatically, room to grow the participations. Program cost recovery is pretty high, but most agencies typically tend to be high in cost recovery. Golf, you are fantastic. And in terms of indoor recreation facilities, you do pretty well in that too. So then we looked at levels of service to say, well, you compare well with the other agencies as you benchmark, what is the level of service for a different facility or amenities that we have? So in that, we looked at your current amenities, we looked at your recommended levels of service based on your survey data, and then we looked at population, which then resulted in the difference between where are you now and where do we want to be. And based on that, these are the gaps that we see across the district. So based on our recommendations, based on your survey results, based on national benchmarks, and the comparison to the top agencies we just shared with you, these are the areas that we recommend through this master plan where the district needs to add in the next 4 to 5 years. 3 acres of pocket parks, 8 acres of neighborhood parks. If you recollect, trails was an area that was very, very high priority. So 3 miles each of paved and unpaved trails. one dog park and outdoor basketball court, and then about 16,000 square feet additionally of indoor community recreation space to allow for continued year-round use as well. So this level of service told us about what you have, right? Now the thought is, well, where can some of that go from an equity of distribution standpoint across the district? And that's where you can see the gaps and overlaps, right? We've got ridge and bluff sort of overlapping a little bit with respect to neighborhood parks. This in the center is where a park is located. This service area is really the recommended standard of 2 acres per 1,000 people. And so the ring goes as far as it needs to accommodate for that extent of the population within the park size. Same for community parks, you can see the service area that we serve as well. Easy to see why we need a dog park. Clearly, we don't have one for a population our size, and most districts or jurisdictions for about 20,000 people have at least a dog park as well, specifically by the district too. Now we've got some additional sort of dog spaces with the park preserve as well, but this is really looking more for the park district specifically. Indoor community rec space, Arrowhead is obviously our biggest one, but we need to grow some more of that as well and allow for the extended use. That's not just special use like the space of the golf course or skateland or otherwise. So that's where we recommended additional indoor spaces for you. And then trail connectivity, you're doing a great job with that as well. The Arroyo trails have been wonderful, but that just needs to continue growing. So you have more of a regional network that builds and connects with the Illinois and Michigan Canal Trail, the Arroyo trails, as well as loop trails within the individual parks as well. Same for unpaved, as you can see for what we have across the system. Now with all of this, right, these are great ideas and recommendations, but really the question then comes down to what does this look like from a capital improvement and a spending standpoint over the next few years? So we looked at this from a short-term priority, from an upcoming life cycle replacement, and then really long-term visionary projects that are major improvements and might take more than a 3 to 5 year window as well, or maybe even beyond that. So in terms of the immediate improvement needs and enhancements to existing infrastructure, these are some of the tentative construction timelines and the projects outlined, right? An additional remodeling of the clubhouse. We heard of that from a lot of people at Heritage Bluffs. Cart path replacement. Those are the two biggest things. And you can see a few of the small, changes and upgrades as we go along in the next 2 to 3 years. With upcoming life cycle replacement, these are more ongoing as well. We know in terms of existing life cycles for different amenities and assets within parks, all of these are going to come in the next 3 to maybe 7 or 8 years. So this is really smart on the part of the district to be able to plan for that and budget accordingly so it doesn't catch us by surprise. And then really the visionary projects, right? This is long-term, but looking at everything from larger picnic shelters. These are rentable ones as well. Always a revenue potential for the district, more opportunities for the community to gather and feel a sense of community. The field house expansion and the spray pad and landscape project at the pool. These are two significant ones, especially the Heritage Crossing field house expansion. But as you saw, we need over 16,000 square feet of indoor recreation space, and this would be a good potential for us to expand in keeping with new trends and what's going on as well. Now, capital improvement wise, as you look at all these combinations of short-term life cycle replacement and long-term visionary projects, that's about 18 million. But again, right now, these are improvements. Some of them will be with no current budget estimates that will increase the total investment amount if the district decides to proceed to. So all of these then led to the visioning process with the park district and the staff to say, what do we want to be known for? The board as well took time out of their weekend and spent a good bit of time with us too to help steer the direction for the park district. And these were the core values that we collectively agreed to. which is being community focused, being financially sustainable, focusing on innovation, and focusing on fun. At the end of the day, those are all the things that are very true to the district. They're authentic to Channahon, and this is what the leadership, the board, and the staff believe that we want to guide by for the next 50 years of the district as well. So in that case, this is the vision, right? We would like to use a tagline, "We impact lives," but the vision really is to be the best provider of fun experiences that impact lives within the district, right? We absolutely want to be the provider. The district wants to be the space where you have experiences that are fun, that are memorable, that positively impact your life. In terms of the mission, simply put, to bring people together. Every day, in every way. It's hard right now with social distancing, with the pandemic, but times will change and we will come out of this, and the Park District will continue through our programs, through our special events, through our golf, swimming, sports lessons, classes, all of that to help bring people together. And so I want to close with these big moves, right? The major recommendations from the plan, beyond just the capital aspect, because this is a strategic master plan, is what are things from both an internal and an external standpoint that staff would look to do as a part of the successful implementation of this plan. And in this case, it is, you saw the core value 2, an increased focus on financial sustainability. The pandemic has been tough on revenues in a lot of places. We know cost will increase as well with minimum wage increases. So I definitely want our district to recommend and focus on ensuring long-term fiscal sustainability. Continue to build. You have a great culture. The staff is passionate. I love their focus on serving the community. And that's going to be a part of the culture that has to be a part of building this culture of customer service excellence. You saw from the improvements too, right? You have built a lot of amazing stuff over the years, but as they come to the end of their life cycle, we're going to need to keep fixing or improving the existing infrastructure so it still continues to provide a great experience for you. Obviously, one of the big moves in the short term is upgrading the Heritage Bluffs Golf Course and our clubhouse, renovating the Tomahawk Aquatic Center, long-term expanding the field house and the fitness center, continue to expand the trail network and complete the Arroyo Trails master plan and with the nature park component as well. Back to some of your top priorities with nature, environmental education, and outdoor adventure. This would be a great place. You've been a gold medal agency with people like Mike Leonard and Kristen and the rest of your team. You've got staff that is just outstanding and considered leaders in the field as well. So I want to keep building the district's national profile, continue being the leader in environmental stewardship as well. You saw from the equity map that I showed, we don't have a dog park. So the district definitely ought to go ahead and build a new dog park as well. And then like everything else, right? I mean, there is so much that's here in front of people on their phones, on the computers, with Netflix, with other options, that it's important for the district to continue telling its story and investing in its marketing efforts so that for the people that are here, for the people that want to call Channahon home in the future, we're always sharing all the great things that are happening in the district for you all to continue taking part in this process as well. So this is 12 months of work all put together in a half an hour of a presentation and a report. But I want you to understand this is a living document. Truth be told, when we were doing this last year, heck, even at the beginning of the year, as we were looking at some of these, nobody would have predicted how the rest of the year would unfold. So for the staff, for the district, we want this plan to be something that continues to adapt and evolve as things change, as the economy, as the community changes. And ultimately, at the end of 5 and 10 years, as you update the plan, as you look back on this, to be able to say that because of the plan and its implementation, Channahon continues to be a leader in parks and recreation, not just in Illinois, but across the country. So thank you for the opportunity to work with you all as well. And I'll turn it over to Mike at this point.
Thank you, Neely. It was a year and a half of hard work. with our board, but it's especially the community members that took part in our focus groups and that were selected for our survey. We can't thank you enough. This plan guides us for the next 5 years and beyond. And in 2021, we celebrate our 50th anniversary as being a park district. So this is very timely to bring the park district into the next 50 years of its existence and serving the community of Channahon. So once again, thank you, Neely, for taking the time. Please feel free to call myself or any of the staff if you have questions on the plan. I can answer any of those at any time. My direct line is 815-521-3119. Feel free to call me at any time if you have questions about the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, or email any of our staff, and we will be able to get those answers for you. It's been a great experience. We look forward to serving the community for the next 50 years. And this is our next 50. So it's an exciting time. We're looking forward to it.